Hey guys, Ozzymitsu here, and I start nearly all of my videos with this line, but it's been a hot minute since my last video. I've just been struggling with coming up with video ideas, and whenever I do sit down and start creating something that I think is semi-decent, I then realise when I'm creating it, the quality of it is just absolutely terrible, and I give up on it completely. It's so hard being an artist. I don't know what that voice was, sorry. So I wanted the first video on the channel of the year to have somewhat of a motivational theme to it. So I thought what better way to achieve this than going through some of my absolute favourite quotes within the Pokemon franchise. Let's just get started. Dawn from the Diamond and Pearl anime. No need to worry. I understand this isn't technically inspirational, but this really resonated with me whilst I was watching the Diamond and Pearl anime. The reason for this is because Dawn used to use this as a cover-up for her insecurities and fear of failure, especially considering she tried so hard to impress her mother. Dawn, you're doing great. You definitely have no reason to worry. Karen, one of the members of the Johto Elite Four. Strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon. That's just the selfish perception of people. Karen is bang on the money here. Your Pokemon's potential relies heavily on how you train them. I'm not going to stand, well actually I'm sitting, but yeah, I'm not going to sit here and argue that a Caterpie is going to take down Salamence, but you get the point. Stop taking these things so literally, I just like the quote, okay? An NPC in Castelia City from Black 2 and White 2. You can't change your family, but you can change how you interact with one another. The way I interpret this quote is that there are some things in life you can't change, like a blood relation with someone. However, there is one thing that is in your hands, how you treat others. So why not be anything but kind, even to those who have wronged you? Funnily enough, this is one of my New Year's resolutions. Here's to a 2019 full of nothing but love and compassion. Caitlin, one of the members of the Univers Elite Four. Having everything go your way is a road to disillusionment. Knowing the difference between what's impossible and what's possible, I used to know someone who talked about that a lot. Ignoring the fact Caitlin is referring to her butler, this quote really is inspiring. It somewhat is along the lines of the popular English idiomatic proverb, you can't have your cake and eat it. Of course there is a major difference in these two sayings, but I appreciate the sentiments behind Caitlin's words. Set realistic goals for yourself and don't burn yourself out. Self-care is important. Show some kindness not only to others, but for yourself too. A trainer on Route 4 in Black 2 and White 2. Go to many places. Speak to many people. And good things will happen for you. The way I interpret this quote is just basically get out your comfort zone, learn from others, be inspired by others, grow with one another, be the best version of yourself you can be. Jesse and James from Pokemon the Movie 3. Jesse, who cares if you fail this time? James, we'll get another chance to fail next time. Aside from the comedic effect this piece of dialogue portrayed, the sentiments behind this really are inspiring. As cliche as it sounds, never give up. No matter how many times you fall down, you'll get back up again. I believe in you. A strange psychic on Route 3 from Pokemon Crystal. You know how Pokemon have different abilities? People are like that too. Everyone has different potential. Growing up I really struggled with this. I never really understood my potential. I never had any talents like being able to sing or act, and I wasn't particularly the most intelligent in my class. It was difficult trying to determine something I'm good at, whereas the other kids at my school had their talents established at a very young age. This quote really helped me to deal with that. Just because someone has talents which are easily identifiable, it doesn't mean I don't have strong potential in something else. I've recently found out that I make a great teacher. In fact, at work I'm responsible for doing most of the training, making guides on our processes, and coming up with weekly exercises to help my colleagues. Whilst this talent isn't something people can identify on the surface, it just shows we are all great in our own way. Identify that strength and you'll be sure to thrive. Meowth from Pokemon the first movie. We do have a lot in common. The same earth, the same air, the same sky. Maybe if we start looking at what's the same instead of always looking at what's different, well, who knows? I know, another popular quote from the Pokemon franchise, but can you blame me? I'm not sure if we notice it more because of our access to social media, but we're constantly dividing ourselves through what we hear on the news, judge people based on their political opinions, and focusing on what we don't like about others. It affects how we treat people we see as the other. There's too much focus on how we are all different. Don't get me wrong, diversity is a great thing, however sometimes it can be beneficial to focus on how similar we all are. Regardless of who you are, where you come from, you're deserving of that happiness, compassion and respect. I reiterate, let's practice kindness, not cruelty. Guzma from Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon. Y'all are stupid! I felt like a lot of the quotes were getting really deep, so I just thought I'd tone it down a little bit. This is just true because sometimes we can all be a little bit silly, let's be honest. Guzma is onto something here. Brock. A Caterpie may change into a Butterfree, but the heart that beats inside remains the same. Brock, my guy. This reminds me of what my mother will always tell me: no matter how old I get, I'll still be her baby. I know some may find parents saying this to be annoying, but I see it coming from a good place. My mom is always going to be there to protect me, and she'll always be on my side. Real quick dark moment though, I honestly dread the day my mother will pass away, because it's something that always crosses my mind, and it's my greatest fear. Please appreciate your loved ones, because you never really truly appreciate what you have until it's gone. Older. Even if we don't understand each other, that's not a reason to reject each other. There are two sides to any argument. Is there one point of view that has all the answers? Give it some thought. Similarly with what I said about politics earlier, don't let that cloud your judgment. Give people a chance. If you feel their opinions are directly harming an individual, however that may be, educate them. Try and put yourself in their shoes. Why do you think they think that way? This is definitely a reminder to myself too. Another NPC from Castelia City. What can I say, it's a great city. Busy. After I eat breakfast, I have to think about lunch. After eating lunch, I worry about dinner. Every day is the same. What a busy life. If this isn't one of the biggest moods, I don't know what is. Grimsley. It's more important to master the cards you're holding than to complain about the ones your opponent was dealt. If someone tweeted this, I'd think it was a subtweet about me, honestly. Yeah, this is something I definitely need to work on. It's easy to focus on the cannots or the negative. Don't get me wrong, when I'm playing Pokemon Showdown random battles, sometimes it is unfair when someone gets a Primal Groudon and I have a Magikarp, but that's not the point. It's easy to focus on the negatives. But yeah, honestly, maybe I'm using this as a reminder to myself, not a subtweet at anyone else. Let's try looking at the world or the glass as half full sometimes. There's just so much beauty in the world, we just need to open our hearts and minds to it. Sailor Luther from Route 222 from Diamond, Pearl and Platinum. Listen, you, whatever happens, never lose sight of your dreams. This is so important. Never give up on your dreams, no matter how big or small you may consider these dreams to be. You've got this. How from Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon. Hey, did you know, player? Of course. How? I haven't even finished the question yet. Just another big ol' mood. Fun fact, part of my training as a fraud investigator touched upon this. We often wait for a certain sound to stop before speaking, even if it means not necessarily listening to whom you are speaking to. So basically what I want you to take from this is that try not rushing to speak when talking to someone. Let them finish. You'll be surprised at how much one has to say after you think they were finished and you unintentionally interrupt them. An NPC on Route 104 in Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald. Hello is the beginning of goodbye. You know what they say, one door closes, another one opens. Sally from the Lost World of Gothitelle episode in the black and white anime. It may not seem like much of a life to some, but for us, those memories were and always will be so very special. No matter how much we wish, we can't turn back the hands of time. I can't, and neither can you. I know I've spoken about this quite a lot, but honestly this quote really stands. Anything you cherish, any memory you have, may not seem like anything special to anyone else, but what matters is that it's special to you. No one can take that away from you. However, as it is nice to cling on to the past, you can't turn back time, so do not dwell on the past. The latter part of the quote is essentially telling you not even the psychic type Gothitelle, who has the power to distort reality, can do that, so there's no use in constantly wishing to live in the past. This is something I really need to work on myself, but I thought you guys would enjoy this quote too. Lusamine from Pokémon Sun and Pokémon Moon. Oh you sweet boy, I'm already over 40. You know what, you're only as old as you feel. Lusamine is a shining example of that. You go girl. Mewtwo from the first Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Again, I know this is heavily overused and everyone uses this in a quote unquote inspirational quotes kind of video, but it's honestly so true. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what sort of background you have, your actions alone develop your character. Remember that. Build your character through kindness. And to conclude, I want to finish this video with a final quote. As a wise man once told me, "Wah, Buffett!" All jokes aside, I really hope you all have a wonderful year. Let's make it better than the last. There's nothing stopping you from achieving your dreams. Chase them. Don't let anyone ever bring you down. Let's be inspired by each other. Grow as people, learn from one another, and as I've said a couple of times before, be kind to others, but most importantly, show kindness to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're doing just fine.